This has been a real good time, folks. I love doing the show with Mark because this show typifies everything I love about the podcast medium. If you've enjoyed sitting here watching me and him talk about comics and movies and fucking shit that we have nothing to do with but just look at from the outside, this is something you could all do as well. Nobody pays us to do this. One day we just elected to sit down and start talking about things, putting a microphone on it, and then putting it out into the world. You can all do this. I'm going to ask for a show of hands. How many people in the room have a podcast? Put your hands together.
Not
Beautiful.
Enough.
That's a lot of broadcasters in one room, man. But like we can easily double that number next year. So if you're into this sort of thing, like, oh my God, all they did was sit around and fucking talk about shit. You could totally do this too. And I encourage you to do this too, because this medium is awesome. You can talk about anything you want. You don't have to talk about just all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You could just talk about Leonardo if you wanted to do that. And you'll get to 100 episodes before you're like, Donatello's a bitch. There, I said it. You could talk about anything. This is a medium of passion, and nobody charges you to do it, and there's no gatekeeper stopping you from doing it. You could talk about anything you want. All you do is sit down, record. You've got a studio probably on your phone, man. Like, use that. There's an app that you can record. Sit down, talk to a good friend of yours, talk to people that share your interests about whatever you want. As long as you speak about it passionately, there will always be an audience to listen to that. I'm going to repeat that again. As long as you talk about something passionately, there will always be an audience to listen to you. I meet a lot of people over the years as I travel, because I always say, go out and do podcasts. And I meet them years later when I come back to a city, and they're like, you told me to record a podcast, and I fucking did it. And I was like, and? They're like, we're up to episode 100. It's a really fucking fun thing to do, man. It can become a business if you want to turn it into that, but don't do it for that. Do it because nobody's stopping you from doing it. Doing it because like you can sit around, you've listened to people on the radio and on TV your whole life, and I guarantee you at one point or another, or maybe every time you're listening to somebody speak, you've had this thought: I'm smarter than that person, I'm funnier than that person. You're probably thinking it right now. And you're absolutely right, but nobody will know unless you put your voice out there, man. Your voice is your currency in this life. It's all you got to spend in this life, man. So spend that currency freely, like you got a stockpile of it, because you do. You've got nothing but your voice, man. So make sure you share it. We choose to do it in a couple different ways. This is one way we do it with this podcast, but anybody can do this. As you just witnessed this evening, this does not fucking take talent. In fact, I'll go one step further and say that there is no such thing as talent. Don't ever let that scare you off of wanting to do something, going, well, I don't have talent. We don't have talent either. You know what talent is? Talent is in the hands of somebody that can build a combustion engine. Because if they do that wrong, fucking shit blows up and people die. Talent is in the hands of somebody who built this room, the architecture of this room. This roof stays up, even though there's no support columns right in the middle, and we're all alive. That takes talent. It does not take talent to sit around with your friend and talk about movies you like. It doesn't take talent to make pretend. It doesn't take talent to sit there and be like, I'm Batman. Fucking Ben Affleck does it, so it doesn't take talent. So I urge you all, man, like go home and sit down and record a podcast. Like try it once. I'm telling you, it's like a Pringles. You can't just do it once. Suddenly you'll want to do it again and again. Talk about whatever you like, man, and do it with people that share your point of view, or even people that are opposed to your point of view. That creates good listening as well. But just spend that currency that you got, that voice, man. If you're in this room tonight, you're passionate about things that other people in life are puzzled by. Like, why do you care about comic books? But there are a bunch of people who think exactly like you. I go to Comic-Cons everywhere across this country, man. There's a lot of people that would listen to your podcast where you review comic books, or listen to your podcast about The Flash, or listen to your podcast about, I was going to say the wonderful movies of Zack Snyder, but whatever the fuck. Like, there's somebody to listen to, or just you going like, hey, these are the comics that I think are worth reading. Anything. There's an audience for that because it's free. It doesn't charge. We don't charge anybody for these podcast things. Nobody does. So that's right away. You get the whole world as a potential audience. You're not pricing anybody out. You just have people going, oh shit, what are they talking about? I like that. I'm gonna start listening to it. That's how you all got into this room tonight. So take that into the world and do that for yourselves, man. I love that you listen to this podcast, and I love coming and do it live and seeing people here in the room. But you know what I'd love even more? If each and every one of you in this room had your own fucking podcast, man. You were all telling your stories that you were passionate about. I would listen to them, and I will listen to them. So please, Go out and record your own podcast this year, man. Start talking about some shit that you really enjoy. It's so fun. It's a good time. And if nothing else, it's just a bunch of saved conversations that you have with people that you really like. That kind of thing is valuable in life. Don't let that slip through your fingers. Thank you so much for fucking being here. For FATMAN, I'm Batman. I'm Kevin Smith.
I'm Mark Bernardin.
That's our show for this week, man. We'll be back next week. Same fat time, same fat channel, smodcast.com.
YouTube.com/Kevin Smith.
Good night, Indianapolis.